A Sioux City homeowner has gone to the city for help dealing with a problem that he claims is caused by a local apartment complex every time it rains. KTIV's Nathan Price is in studio tonight with the story. So Nathan, what's the issue here?
Well, Matt, for Bob Rasmussen, when it rains, it pours, literally. Bob Rasmussen says he has been dealing with a major drainage issue for 3 years. He says the storm water from the Woodbury Heights apartments runs into a storm drain at the northeast corner of the complex's property. Rasmussen says instead of that storm water flowing downhill at that spot, a pipeline redirects the flow of water to the southeast, right into his backyard. He says storm water through the pipes causes his backyard to flood and also parts of his home.
But they came in and dug a ditch, temporary ditch to alter the flow so it wouldn't flood my yard and go into my garage and back up into my septic tank into my house.
Rasmussen says the apartment also planned to place a pipeline underground to move stormwater to an existing storm drain below. But Rasmussen says that plan has changed.
Well, the guy I think died that was doing that, and now the new owners, they say they're not going to do nothing for me about it. You're on your own.
Rasmussen says he has already spent thousands of dollars trying to solve the problem with no success. So he sought help from the city council, even attending Monday's meeting to try and find a solution. City engineer Gordon Fair said he recognized this as an ongoing issue and that the underground pipeline that was planned wouldn't work.
It'll impede the drainage from the properties that are up behind Woodbury, the natural drainage, yes, from behind Woodbury Heights, unrelated to that property that the city owns, that's looking at eventually developing and some homes. Yeah. That property also drains that way as well.
Mayor Bob Scott told Rasmussen his case would be added to the City Engineering Committee's agenda to see what could be done. For Rasmussen, he hopes this issue is corrected to improve his quality of life.
I don't need to live like this. I don't need to have a river coming down through my yard. That's what the main point of this is.
Now, Rasmussen told us he has a meeting with city officials on Monday. We reached out to a representative from Woodbury Heights apartment by phone and by email several times, but haven't heard back.
KTIV's Nathan Price in studio with us tonight. Nathan, thank you.